What is going on, everybody? This is a Saturday edition of the I-71 Playbook Podcast. I am BB, and with me, as always, is BC. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good, BB. Happy Saturday, BB. How are you?
Happy. I am. I'm pretty good. Had a decent week, and
Good.
lot to talk about in the sports world. That's for sure.
You know,
Oh,
the one thing about being a Cleveland sports fan is it is a very giving endeavor to partake in. It There's always something,
hmm,
and
there is
it,
always something.
in the macro, like the fact that Cleveland is probably the smallest market with three professional teams, three major
Hmm.
sports teams. Throw
Right.
in throw in the monsters, as minor league hockey. You have a little bit of something for everybody. And for the size of the market, we are very lucky. So I really,
We are.
just sometimes you just have to kind of count your blessings. You know what I mean? And being in Cleveland, although we are the most sometimes the most insufferable, but also well earned, most insufferable, but most suffering fan base out there, we are still lucky to have three teams to talk about, and it makes potting a lot easier because there's always going to be something.
It does. Yeah, there's always going to be something. And this week was kind of an embarrassment of riches as to what to talk about. Kind of had to
Absolutely.
narrow it down. Couldn't get everything. But right off the bat, I mean, let's talk about it. Last week, you slipped up a little bit, and you may have caused some issues
Tell me.
for our orange round ball professional team.
Uh,
Went to an 0-2 hole going into Indiana,
and I like to point
and
out, BB, I like to point out that I slipped up twice and they lost twice. So
they did.
I'm
So
taking the heat for this one.
you kind of on you.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
But also nobody could have we could have foreseen that just about all of the starters were going to go down injured going
The
into
injury
this
bug.
series. So it was just like, whew.
Game one, okay, you know what? You're allowed to slip up. Game two, Darius is out again. Evan Mobley's out, and I think we saw last night just what a difference maker he is. Defensive
Hmm.
player of the year. He completely spaces the floor. Um, what happened in last night's game was, I mean, it was domination. And when they are healthy, they are going to be very difficult to defeat.
Hmm.
So hopefully, knock on wood, they stay healthy for the rest of the series and move on. But yeah, yeah, it was kind of scary there for a second, but like I said, they got healthy. Uh, Donovan Mitchell, I
Wow.
I I
Like,
I, I was watching with a group of people last night, and I made a comment. I really want Donovan to get a championship for one. I mean, obviously, we want Cleveland to have a championship, but I want
right.
Donovan to get one because here's a guy who does everything right. Here's a guy
Yeah.
who's a great representative of the city.
Hmm.
Here's a guy with a championship who'll be a Hall of Fame. I don't think people realize. I think we kind of for some reason, we take him for granted. And I don't think people realize especially in the playoffs, what he's doing. It's
Right.
absolute insanity. And even the national media doesn't really talk about it. You know, I
Mhm.
hear about the Celtics, I hear about the Knicks. We heard all
Yeah.
about Tyrese Halliburton, because he had a game winner the other night in the pregame. You hear about all the drama in the West. Crap,
Yeah.
the Lakers aren't even playing anymore, and they're still in the news. But Donovan Mitchell deserves his props. That dude is
Absolutely.
that dude is a top 10, if not top five player in the NBA. And I really want the Cleveland basketball team to be uber successful this year because I want Donovan to be known as one of the best players in the NBA, and without question, without question.
I mean,
So
he
anyway,
put up 43 points by himself last night.
yeah,
Those are some good
yeah,
numbers. I mean,
uh,
I remember when the ESPN alert popped on my phone that all of our starters were going to be healthy and back in for game three. And I sent it to you and I was
that's
like,
the
okay, so this
yeah, it's the
let's
BB alert
effing
on my phone.
go.
I call that the BB alert. I got that
MVP alert.
popped up. I'm like, yep, we're good to go. Let's roll.
Let's effing go.
Yeah,
So,
if they stay healthy, man, this could be special. And if they win tomorrow, I say they win in six. Um,
oh
just
wait, hold on. Hold that thought. Hold on. Because last week, or when we first started talking, yeah, go ahead and slimmer up here, buddy. Because we're about to drop some gloves. You were adamant, Cavs in five. Ooh, no. Now you got me doing it. You got Cleveland basketball team in five. And I'm like, I think it's going to go to six, maybe seven.
now it's going seven because you just ruined it. But anyway,
I
uh,
again, I am in fact the reason why we can't have nice things. I keep telling you
uh,
this,
no,
but you
no,
were adamant. You were adamant
oh,
that it's the Cleveland basketball team in five.
and I
Now
want
you're jumping onto my island of B-ball team in six
I
because
have
Indiana came out and they punched us in the mouth. Um, so
I
that
have
they're going to put up a fight.
and if you remember after game one and Indiana wins that game, I did text back to you Cavs in five. So
You
um
did it too.
I so oh you ah okay, so we need to go find like some witch doctor to take this off of us. We gotta get this curse off of us. Um
We need
God,
sage, like massive amounts of sage.
yes.
All right.
And
So real
the worst
quick,
thing, no, the worst thing is the text didn't even say that. It said Cleveland basketball team in five. Like I
it
put
did.
it
I
right on
was
the
so proud of
text.
you. I was so proud of you. You did it in the text. But real quick,
Yeah.
game four tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. Let's do it. Let's keep it rolling. And then
Uh,
let's keep this pod rolling. So before you and I step on our tongue even more, um,
I just
unfortunately though, go
I want
ahead.
to respond. I want to respond one more time about the Cleveland basketball team before I know where you're moving
Okay.
to. But very quickly, yes, I did say them in five. I was under the assumption they would be healthy. Games one and two, they were not healthy.
No.
That also being said, I have always, my former life as a teacher,
Hmm.
my new life has a insurance guy. Um,
Hmm.
I'd always tell everybody who will listen, whether it was students, clients, coworkers, whatever, never assume because it makes an ass out of you and me. I have made an ass out of
Oh.
myself last week, and I wear that. I wear that. These are broad shoulders, and I can take it. So, okay,
And
let's
that's
move on.
one
Go
of
Cleveland
many
basketball
things that
team.
I love about you. Absolutely. Go Cleveland basketball team. Pay no attention to the assholes with the podcast. Don't listen to us at all.
We really
Um,
screwed the pooch today.
whew. So unfortunately, the Cleveland Monsters did not have the same kind of round two magic that the Cleveland basketball team did, and their season is unfortunately over, falling 3 games to 1 to the Laval Rocket. Going forward, this is going to make for some interesting things. I think that the squad's going to look a lot different when we come into October. Um, there's some whispers that we may be looking at a new bench boss, which sucks because I do enjoy Vogelhuber. I loved him on the ice. He's a local kid, but unfortunately, with them continuing to foster that lazy hockey environment that we keep seeing, that you've seen it personally, I've seen it for a couple seasons now. That's going to have to be addressed, unfortunately. And there's going to be some key players, I think, that are not going to be re-seen in Cleveland. Jet being one of them. As his contract is written next year, it's NHL or nothing. So if he doesn't make the squad in Columbus, he's potentially a free agent. He can go anywhere else. He does not have a two-way contract for next year, which is a little bit of a bummer because we won't have that opportunity to see him in Cleveland. Another face that we may or may not see, and it's leaning unfortunately more towards may not see, is Trey Fix-Wolanski. Um, Unfortunately, he is one of those players, and I love this kid to death. I love to watch him play. I love his heart. I love his grit. Um, he's one of those players where he's a little bit better in the AHL and he's not quite at that NHL level. that's not to say that he can't. Just unfortunately with Columbus, there is such a talent logjam that he can't get the ice time down there that he needs. Um, and I don't think that Columbus is going to pick up his contract this year, which is unfortunate because he's definitely a fan favorite. Holds and made a lot of records for the Cleveland Monsters in the past couple of seasons with us. So that's a little bit disheartening. Now, unfortunately, I don't care about hockey again until about October because all of my teams are out. I have no dog in the fight in the Stanley Cup race, unfortunately, since the Avalanche were bounced. And now with the Calder Cup race, because the Monsters are gone, we'll see in October, boys.
Poor
But
BB. Poor
good
BB.
season, good season. But
Folks,
see,
folks out
the
there in
good thing
pod
though
world,
is
out there on
what's
YouTube, I
that?
want people to understand how big of a hockey fan you are. So this really kind of hurts me to see that your hockey passion's gone. We can't resurrect it until the fall. And yeah, it's a bummer. It's a bummer because once again,
It is.
it's part of who you are. You are a hockey
It
girl at
is.
heart.
I am, and I have the mouth and the vocabulary to match that. But the good news
As
is
we
that
found out
we're
last
coming
week's
in.
pod.
I
And
know it took. Look,
if
it
you
took
don't know
23 episodes.
if you don't
It
know what
took
I'm talking about, folks, and you didn't watch last week's pod, you want to go toward I don't know about the last 10 minutes, and Spicy BB came out in full force. So
in full force, like that's full unadulterated, like BB. Um,
that's the BB I've
I
known and loved for so long.
uh, um, I still would like the record to reflect though that it took me 23 episodes before actually dropping an F bomb.
I'm,
So
I'm proud of you, kid.
I
I'm proud of you.
thank you. We had a good run. You know what?
we had
I'll
a,
take
there goes our
I'll
spot. There
take
goes
it.
our massive sponsorship.
Again, I am the reason why we cannot have nice things. I've said it before. I will say it 1,000 times. It's me, um, or whatever Taylor Swift said. Anyway,
God, it's a good
let's
song. It's a good song.
let's move across, move away from Rocket Arena, just across the little alleyway across Bolivar, over to Progressive Field, the corner of Carnegie and Ontario.
So here's the thing. The other day I looked down, and it was 2 nights ago. I just happened to like right now I don't have television access to the Guardians. So they're
A
kind of
lot
out
of
of sight,
people
out of
don't.
mind. Right. And it's kind of outside, out of mind. And that is, I mean, it's the reason why Major League Baseball is a distant third in the pro sports. They are
Hmm.
just continue to shoot themselves in the foot. They can't get these regional networks down.
Hmm.
We should all have access to our teams. We don't. So they've been outside, out of mind. But every night I make sure I check, the game. I look back at the game
Same.
because, as we know, my first love was baseball. And
Hmm.
so um, I look, I look, and I just kind of low key noticed they're 22-16, and after last night, 23. And I'm
Hmm.
like, they're having a pretty good year. And here's the crazy thing. So I pull up the standings because I really haven't been paying attention. We're still in May. I don't really start looking at standings till after the All Star break.
That's fair.
Unless they are, just killing it, or unless they're really struggling, And I'm like, okay, maybe it's
Yeah,
done in June. Um, they have the second best record in the American League,
they do.
only behind the Detroit Tigers. And we've heard so many times how terrible the AL Central is. It's the second best division in baseball right now.
It
And
really
they're
is.
doing, and here's the crazy thing. So I'm like, I wonder because we're not hearing a ton about them yet. They're playing really well. They're playing good baseball. If you project that out, they're going to win 90 games and be in the playoffs. And I did a little deep diving,
Hmm.
and only one player for the Cleveland Guardians is in a major statistical categories in the top 10 in baseball. Did you know that?
I did not.
They had the fifth best record, and only one player statistically is in the top 10 of any category. Do you know who that player is?
It's got to be Jose.
No, yeah.
No. Oh
You're
my.
gonna,
Okay.
I'll give you one more guess.
Hmm. Is it Big Christmas?
No, it is not. It
All
is
right.
Emmanuel Classe,
Now
right?
I'm afraid. Yeah, I'm afraid to see what the stat's going to be now because
No, no, he's a top 10 in
he is
saves.
firmly,
He's in the top
really.
10 in saves. Yeah, he's got 8 saves. He's 10th in the league in saves. He is the only
That's
guardian. He's the only guardian statistically in the top 10 of any category. And
that's
yet they
shocking because
have.
he's number one in anxiety attacks in Cleveland. So there's that.
Oh, I
I
didn't say.
love
I'm
that for
sorry.
him.
Yahoo Sports did not chart that stat, so I apologize.
Don't worry,
But
I will.
but the Guardians are playing great baseball. It's obviously they're playing great team baseball. And they are a couple of games with uncharacteristically multiple errors from really being the best team in the Central and the best team in the AL.
Hmm.
So don't sleep on them. We said at the beginning, just they're going to be good. They're going to be okay. And how Stephen Vogt's doing this, the pitching has not been great. The bullpen has not really been great. Hitting
No.
has not been great. And once again, the statistics back this up, but yet they just keep winning. And
Yeah.
I hope now that the draft's over, they're going to be fighting audiences with the Cleveland basketball team. But I hope people start paying attention because, once again, good baseball is being played up in Cleveland. And I really hope people can get on board because these small crowds, like last year, the crowds were great. Like it almost had the old feel of the '90s, Jake. And this year we're back to hey, we hate the Dolans. No, nobody's good. We suck, and we don't. We're
See,
the
and
second
it's
best team in the
not.
AL.
See, and I don't think it's so much that we hate the Dolans and that the team sucks because Cleveland historically, it doesn't matter what kind of caliber product that you put on the field, the Browns, people are still going to show up. They're still going to
Yeah,
support the team. Um, it's more along the lines of the ticket prices and everything else keeps raising. And it's, people are like, okay, so it'd be easier to watch it at home. But unfortunately, because they have shot themselves in the foot so many times, people can't even watch it at home on
yeah,
a reliable source. I mean, I remember growing up, and this is going to, age me in considerably so. I remember literally all of the games were on, WUAB channel 43.
yep.
All of them.
Every game,
Home, away, every single game. And now,
unless there
because
was a national game and you just turned on a network,
right,
you
so
didn't miss the game. Yeah,
no, there was coverage, and it wasn't just for your own team; it was for all the teams.
right.
So when they had the advent of MLB TV, that's when the exclusivity started to really, really kick in, and then it snowballed, and now in this stream hungry environment that we're all in because everything now has its own streaming service. But now where you have that too is you've got the streaming service now owns the rights to the teams,
Yeah.
which is now where you're really, really getting screwed over.
Or the
So
teams
it's
own the
just
rights
it's
to the streaming
unfortunate.
service, but yeah,
It's
yeah, no,
unfortunate that you cannot.
it no, no, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry. It
No,
is um, because once again, the perfect example is this week. I see that they're on TBS, and I click on TBS. Sorry, this is blacked out in your area,
nope. Right. That drives me absolutely insane.
and I'm like, how can I live 50 miles south of Cleveland and not see a Cleveland professional sports team without paying
Right.
$100? Because it's $100
That's the
for the
thing. And the perfect example I have is for my dad. My dad grew up going to back then the Indians games.
Indians. Yeah,
He was there for both of the 10-cent beer nights. He had season tickets for a number of years. I remember going to the 95 and the 97 playoff games with my dad. There's just a lot of memories that revolve around
absolutely. Yeah, me too.
the Cleveland Indians organization. Um, and now that he's getting older and he can't make it down to the stadium to even catch a live game, due to health concerns and things like that, as as his kid, I want to do everything that I can to still let him have baseball in the house. That's the one thing that he can enjoy, and I can't even do that for him because exactly, I've looked into packages to get them so he can watch the Guardians, and they live no lie 30 minutes from Progressive Field.
Right.
and he can't even watch the games. Like there is something severely wrong with all of
Yeah.
this. And it's the
Yeah.
same thing, I mean, across different sports. I mean,
This
I'm
this
2.5 hours from Detroit. I can't watch a Detroit Red Wings game in my living room, but I can watch every Blue Jackets game that I want to watch.
yeah.
Make it
And
make
and
sense. Like
this
it's
yeah,
awful.
this house literally is exactly 60 minutes from Progressive Field. Like
Hmm.
an hour. And I have, you know, I used to average 5 or 6 games a year. I would go up.
Hmm.
I That's one of my favorite places on earth. Progressive Field. It is, 30 years old now. People forget that place is 30 years old,
My God,
and
that
it
is
is still an incredible venue for baseball.
yeah,
Um, you know, hats off to the Guardians organization because once again, it's still a gem in Major League Baseball, and it's 30 years old. Stadiums
hmm,
nowadays just don't do that. Um,
no,
and and I love going there, and it's actually until just last year, it's pretty affordable. Like
right,
uh, before the pandemic, you could go up there, get club seats, all you can eat food for $50. Food and
yeah,
drink, club seats, great seats, $50. Go up on a night, and now that's $100 seat, and that's $100 pass. And so not
hmm,
only are you restricting, your audience, but you are, once again, if you're out of sight, out of mind, I don't think on a random Tuesday to go up to Cleveland, where I'm an hour away, like it's an easy drive
hmm,
to
yeah,
go up to Cleveland and catch a game. Um, and you can pick where you want to sit right now because they're only bringing in about 10, 12,000 a night.
yeah.
And yeah, Major League Baseball, for the life of me, I'll never figure out. It's like they're sabotaging their game. They
They
really are.
are.
When you lose me, okay, as you know, I played baseball my entire life. I coached baseball for over a decade. I
Hmm.
love the sport. I love the Guardians. I love the Indians, and I forget about them now. I just forget,
Yeah,
and
it's
they have nobody to
unfortunate.
blame. Yeah, they have nobody to blame but themselves.
I remember, years ago, and not even like forever ago, it's probably maybe 15 years ago. I remember paying like splurging and paying like 65, $70
Hmm.
for a ticket, but I was also sitting 3 rows from the third baseline
Yep.
and went there on a date. And it was like, okay, between that parking and food, okay, cool. It's not a huge expense. Last summer, I actually took um my adopted little sister and her daughter who came over from England, took them to a game with my mom. And so for four of us to go, and we were up in the upper level.
Hmm.
The seats ended up being like really great anyway because there were fireworks and things like that. So they actually ended up being great. The seats themselves, I think, were $22 a piece. And then what also gets you now is all of these ticket fees. So you're essentially paying for two seats
Yeah.
for one because the fees that they include are absolutely ridiculous right now anyway. So for four of us to go sit in essentially the nosebleeds was almost $250 by the time that the fees and everything else comes in. Now I didn't care only because I wanted them to experience a Guardians game. Something
Right.
that I grew up doing and I loved. Um,
And you want to share with them, and that's
right.
awesome.
You
Yeah.
know, the game itself, however, that we went to, that was a different story. But
Hey, 1 in 162. You'll have that every
whew,
now and then.
I mean, to be fair, we were playing against San Diego, who was, pretty on fire last season, so there was that. But no, I'm glad to see that they are turning it around with after a kind of a rocky start. Hopefully we can get as the season goes on, our pitching can kind of get a little bit more calmed down and things like that. And I agree with you. I don't know what Stephen Vogt is doing in that dugout, but he is doing some magic. I don't know if we've
Right.
we've got the power of Joe Boo back in the building and he sacrificed a live chicken. I don't know. I don't care. Truthfully, the fact that we've got the second best record in the AL Central.
No,
Um,
in the AL Central, but in the AL,
yeah,
they have the
I'll
second
take
best
it.
record. Yeah, and
I'll take
and
it all day long.
I know we were all afraid when Tito left, but man, Stephen Vogt has just been amazing, and I think that is we should kind of shelve this accessibility to live sports conversation for a later pod
Yeah.
because it's not just baseball.
No.
Court
I,
court court
yeah.
se- we looked up court seats last night to the Pacers game, and they were starting about $3,500 for a second round playoff game.
Woo.
$3,500 for court seats, and if you and I know you like me are a big fan of live concerts.
Yes.
You can't get you can't get into Blossom under 60-70 bucks now, and
I,
the
that
in the lawn, and
don't even get me started.
it's just one of
That is
those
a different
things.
pot entirely.
Right. And I think we, like I said, we should shelve that topic and go back to this because um at some point, and when it comes down to it, sports are entertainment. It's
Yeah.
entertainment for your dollars. At
Hmm.
some point, these venues they're gonna price themselves out
Yep.
because people a majority of people can't afford this maybe once or twice a year where you could have done it 10, 15 times a year a decade ago. And so
Absolutely.
yeah, so once again, yeah, I think we should actually definitely talk about that later on. But these entertainment, and it goes back to I know we're going about to jump into the Browns, but Brook Park, I those tickets are going to be astronomical,
Astronomical. Yeah.
and
They're
I
going
don't
to
know
be,
how
and I think people are going to get sticker shock. I think when they see just how
oh
bad it's going to be.
it was one of the driving factors of why I gave up my season tickets. It was up there with the top factors because hey, you know what? I make a pretty good living. I could afford Brown season tickets now. I'm not going to be able to afford Brown season tickets in Brook Park. I already know
Right.
that, especially when you're
Uh,
talking thousands of dollars per PSL.
hmm.
Looking at yeah, just so that's it. Yeah, let's talk about that a little later.
Okay. Sounds like a
Yeah,
plan.
but the
So
Browns,
talk about the Browns. They gave us kind of a little bit of a plethora of things to talk about themselves. Also, one of our new signed free agents got himself in a little bit of trouble as well. Um, I don't know why it's hard for these guys to not make good decisions. I mean, there should be a course when you come into the NFL, and I don't care from what league.
there there is. By
Anytime
the
that you
way,
join it, every new year, everyone gets into a meeting, and it's not just the offense, the defense, the special teams. It's the whole team as a collective, and the message is simple: don't do stupid shit. Like that's it. Boom. End of lesson.
two easy
So
things. Two easy things. You are making millions of dollars. Get an Uber or Lyft. That's one.
right,
There's no reason
right.
why a professional athlete should ever have a DUI or DWI.
No,
No, number
no.
two, number two, hire somebody to keep you out of trouble. If you think, if
Right,
you think, okay, that there is an opportunity for you to, because I don't care who your crew is, your friends, and if they are going to put you in bad situations. So hire somebody to keep you out of those situations because you can afford it. Because the
right.
inverse of that is what Devin Bush is going to be experiencing. Okay. Highly incentivized contract. Played well for the Browns
Yep,
last year. No, no
yep,
doubt. They brought him back 1 year incentivized contract. That's all gone now. His NFL
yep.
career is probably gone because he's not a top tier superstar.
Nope.
Um, and have somebody to babysit you. It's okay, guys. Have a babysitter. Seriously.
Right.
You know what? Let's start that business, BB.
I'm here
Professional
for it.
professional athlete babysitting services.
I have absolutely no problem telling people,
We
especially like grown ass men, don't do stupid shit.
we will keep you out of trouble. There's our $1 million ID right there. Let's do it.
Boom,
Yep, let's do it.
boom. But speaking
But
of don't do stupid shit,
I know where
Georgia
this is going.
man, Georgia man. Now, usually when you see these headlines, it's a Florida man
Florida man.
or
Yeah.
or or Ohio
Iowa
man.
man. Yep.
Georgia man. is now suing the NFL for $100 million, which will buy you tickets and a dollar hot dog at Progressive Field during a Guardians game. Maybe parking too. Who knows? Um, but is suing the NFL for the
By the way, can we go back
conspiracy.
to after this? Can we go back to parking? Just real quick. Can we go back to parking real quick? Okay, go back. Go
Sure.
ahead. Thank you. I just don't let
Okay.
me forget parking. Okay.
Okay. Okay. But suing the NFL for conspiracy because of Shador Sanders' draft slide, and that it's this big collusion with the NFL and all of the teams and things like that. And my brother in Christ, we there are better things that we can do to fill out your day. I can guarantee it, because there is not going to be a judge alive that is going to look at this and go, you know what, he's on to something.
I saw this, and once again, being in the insurance biz now, I talk to a lot of clients, and we talk about liability, right?
Right.
How much liability, and I say, you know, we live in a very litigious society. Everybody's looking to try to get
We
rich
do.
quick. They want to sue. That's just the world we live
Yep.
in.
Yep.
Um, and I literally use this example this week to a client saying, Did you see the Cleveland Browns? No, what? I said, dude suing because they were upset that that there is a conspiracy against Shador Sanders. And the guy was like, seriously? I know that seriously. So this is why you need liability. Because some of those lawsuits you get some whack judge, and there are some out there. Most of
There
I like
are.
to. I'm still kind of a believer in the judicial system, the third branch of the government. But there are some whack judges out there who probably should not be on the bench determining people's fates. And you know, even that whack judge looked at this and said, "That's crazy, dude."
That's
Like
nuts. And
that's
see,
not
when I
happening.
started reading this, I'm like, this is going to be some like 23-year-old kid who was pissed off that like his parlay didn't hit with DraftKings. No, this is a 55-year-old man.
Yeah, yeah.
This is a grown ass man who drafted a lawsuit against the NFL.
I mean,
Good luck. Here's the advice that I will send out to this man. My brother in Christ, pack a lunch and a comfortable seat, because the NFL's legal department can do this literally all day long, like all day long.
the
$100 million.
this is not going to be
$100
worth the
million
legal.
dollars.
This is not going to be worth the legal fees, my man. It's not going to be worth
This
it. I promise.
this was the prime example of the juice is not worth the squeeze. Like,
You, you got your 15 minutes. Your name's been mentioned in the media. Okay, for
and it's
five
not
second,
though.
5 seconds of a 24-hour cycle. At least you're known about. But that's it. Like, okay, game.
Because he filed it under John Doe, so he's not
Yeah,
even getting the
yeah.
15 minutes of fame. He didn't even do that right.
So,
I saw that and I'm just like, you've got to be absolutely kidding me. Like,
speaking of Mr. Sanders, um, I would like to talk to fellow podcasters in Cleveland media right now.
ooh,
In particular, the biggest offender, one ESPN Cleveland's Mr. Tony Grossi. It is Shador, not Shadir.
oh my God. Oh my God.
His name is Shador Sanders. Quit saying Shadir Sanders. Okay, my name is Brian
Oh,
Erlenspiel. And do you know how upset I get when people, purposely, it's not, I don't care the mispronunciation of my last name. I get it. It's a doozy. It's the lack of trying. And
right.
when you have heard this, first of all, Shador Sanders has been in the media for a decade. His dad had a reality TV show in which he was a part of. We've heard his name for 10 years. Okay. Quit being disrespectful. And for some
Yeah,
people, I know it's not intentional, But of all the things about the whole Shador saga thing going on in Cleveland right now, that is the most annoying to me. It wasn't a pre-draft
Yeah,
process. It was last year. His name is Shador. Say
yeah.
his name correctly. Say it with me.
And at this point, you're
Shador.
right. You're right because he has been so in the media. There's no doubt about how to pronounce this kid's
And that's
first
why it
name,
pisses me off so much. It's almost
and
like
it
they're taking
should. It's
like you,
blatant at this point. Like
when
you know,
when you do that, and you know you are purposely disrespecting somebody. And you know
right?
what? I don't know what happened behind closed doors during the draft process, but I'm going to tell you one thing. Everything I've seen about this kid has been spectacular. Doesn't drink. He doesn't smoke. He doesn't get in trouble. He goes to schools. Yeah, does he have a video camera with him? Yeah, what 22-year-old doesn't? Seriously.
Right, right.
He has his own company. Like, I was watching we had we talked about it last week, but Aaron Goldhammer once again on the aforementioned ESPN Cleveland. Uh, when Shador he comes to Cleveland. First of all, he gets on a plane, hops on a plane, comes to Cleveland.
Hmm.
There's a video of him working out. Okay, I see videos of my favorite player Nick Chubb working out all the time. Right? I see videos of Deshaun Watson working out. Who cares? Kids working out.
Right,
Cool.
right.
Okay. Then he goes to John Marshall High School. He
Which is
talks. He gives his
John
time
Marshall
up.
High School. Side note for those of you who are not in the direct Cleveland area, John Marshall High School is actually one of the worst schools in the Cleveland Public City school system. Um, eh, so
He
for
go.
him to go
He,
right into the epicenter
yeah.
of these kids who are potentially at a crossroads, and he can have an impact on their lives, that actually says something to me. When I found out it was John Marshall, that said something to me.
And that's what got me pissed off about the whole Aaron Goldhammer thing. Why do you got to bring the camera? Just go. Just show up. Couple things, Goldhammer. Second of all, what school are you going to and talking to?
Oh, we do
No,
have
no, seriously.
spicy DC
No,
today.
no,
Like,
seriously. And I'm not. I
wow.
don't. I am not a Goldhammer hater. I know a lot of people hate him because he's from Denver. He's kind of a nepo baby. I get all that. I get that. His dad's got money. He got him a job in radio, whatever. I don't care. Good for you, Hammer. And I think you do a pretty good job. And I've watched your whole entire career. But that take on Shador, and I know they had one of Shador's crew on the show, and he kind of straightened them out. But that take, like, why do you have to have a camera? I don't care if there's a camera there. I don't care why he's doing it. That guy went in there, and like you just said, BB, if he affected one life, if he changed one life, and he put one of those kids on the right track, God damn, it's awesome. Good for
Yeah,
that kid. Good for
yeah,
that kid. You know what he's not doing? He's not out. He's not out getting hand jobs from masseuses. You know what he's not doing? He's not assaulting women. You know what he's not doing? He's not going there and blasting the media.
right.
He he has done nothing wrong. And like, I don't know what his professional career is going to be, but I'm sick of the personal attacks on him for no reason at all.
Yeah,
We heard it during the draft. Anonymous sources coming out during the draft. Hey, you know what? It didn't go well. Obviously, he's a fifth round pick. But he's also one of the most well-known celebrities in America right now. Athletic celebrities. His jersey is the
right.
number one selling jersey in the NFL right now for a reason. I can't tell you how many times I go on YouTube or go on boards of ESPN Cleveland 92.3 The Fan, and you see it every other comment. I'm here for Shador. I'm a Colorado fan. I'm here for Shador. I watch him at Jackson's Day. I'm here for Shador. I just love the family. I'm here for Shador. He is bringing a whole new fan base. We have not seen anything like this since Baker, when all the Oklahoma
True.
people and Texas people came in and became Browns
That is
fans.
true. That is true.
And there's nothing bad about this. If he pans out and he is our franchise quarterback, oh my God, you hit the lottery in the fifth round. If he doesn't, you know what? Let the kid just keep doing good things and using this as a celebrity has a vehicle for good.
Right.
But I'm just completely tired of the disrespect of this kid. I'm rooting for him. If Dylan Gabriel is our future quarterback and he wins the job, cool. If it's Shador, cool. I don't care. But the personal attacks on this kid because he is a celebrity, because he grew up in the light, because of his father, it's just a bunch of bullshit. And I'm really tired of it. I'm really
And
tired of it. And
and this is all stuff is out of his control. Like
it is. He's not doing
he did
anything
not
wrong.
he didn't ask to be, born into a family where his father is a dual sport celebrity. He didn't ask to be put on a reality show as a child. He
Oh,
didn't ask to be put in the spotlight. And so he's now trying to have to navigate. And mind you, you know, childhood into your early 20s is some of, that's some rough times for people. You're figuring stuff out. You're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna do this. And this dude has had to do it with a camera in his face. And I agree with you. Whatever happens with his trajectory here in Cleveland, if he is the franchise quarterback, if he gets cut, let him do this on his own. Stop trying to put a narrative on him,
yeah,
um, because the perfect example is him versus um, the Falcons coordinator's kid.
yeah,
It's a tale of night and day. The media wants Shador to be that kid, that entitled, that cocky,
yeah.
that uh, immature, narcissistic little shit. And when he's not, they want to try and put that narrative on him. And I agree with you. I just let the kid do what he's gonna do. If he succeeds, if he fails, that's gonna be totally up to him.
Yep.
That's solely on his shoulders now. And the fact that he's kind of rolling with it and he's just kind of taking it all with a grain of salt and going, all right. And what I hope it does is I hope it puts the chip on his shoulder in the fact that I'm going to prove all these sons of bitches wrong.
Yeah.
And
I,
it fuels that drive in him to work hard, to go out there to bust ass, because the only thing that's going to come out of it is positivity.
I,
It could translate to wins on the field. It can translate to, you know, fan praise from the city of Cleveland. And we've talked about this before, and you and I are both walking examples of this, is the fact that Cleveland fan bases love hard. We do. We are loyal, we are rabid, we are passionate about our sports teams across the board. Minor league, pro, whatever. Those are our guys. And while we may talk shit about them, we'll also defend them even harder to
well,
anyone else, to the national media, to other fan bases, to whatever. So let this kid just figure it out.
I can think top of my head 4 times in the last 2 months where somebody said, I don't like that Shador Sanders kid. And then I ask him simply, why? Well, he's cocky. I'm like, what? 21, 22-year-old Division One about to get drafted football player is not cocky. Second, I said, so
That part.
what's the problem? Seriously, what is the problem that you have with Shador? Okay, okay, Boomer, you didn't like Dion. It's fine. Okay, but this is his kid. Okay,
Right.
you didn't like Dion being flashy back in the '90s when black men were supposed to know their place, right? That's what you didn't like. And let's be honest with it. And now you're looking, you're going,
Yeah.
I don't like his kid. Why? And it's people our age too. It's not, it's
Oh yeah.
why why don't you like him? Like you may not want him to be the quarterback of your team, but when you say I don't like him, you're making a judgment statement about his
Hmm.
character. And this kid has done nothing but good. There's not a blemish on his record unless you don't like the camera. But even when he's on camera,
Right.
he is soft spoken, he is polite. If you watch his call to Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Barry, you're like,
Hmm.
that's it. You know, this kid didn't. The whole thing about him being humbled. Oh, he had to be humbled. I don't think that's. I don't
He
think that
didn't
needed to.
have to be.
Yeah, he didn't have to be. Like I said, the more you think about this kid's background. By the way, John, when he went to John Marshall, okay,
Mhm.
that's not the first time he went to a high school with kids who need to hear from somebody positive.
Right. Right.
He's done this in Colorado. He's done this in Florida. He's done this in Dallas, where he's from. He has done this every step of the way. This is
Hmm.
who this kid is. He's like, I got celebrity, I got clout, I can help somebody.
And to use your
What?
platform at that young
Yeah,
age
exactly.
for good,
And, and the
and
mo-
not just for nefarious purposes. I think
and the
that says
more
something.
and the more they dig at this kid, and the more you find out, the more I like this kid, and the more I'm rooting for him. Because you know
I
what?
mean,
It
I'm
just
gonna be
it.
really, really honest. I'm gonna kind of pull the curtain back on myself a little bit. So when Dion made headlines, what, 2, 3 years ago, when he was making the move from
Mhm.
Jackson State to Colorado,
Yep.
and the whole fanfare that came around with that. If you're not here to work, my son's going to be the quarterback, hit the portal. We've all heard it, all of the nonsense. And then there was such hype going into that first season at Colorado, and then they started winning games, and it was everywhere. And you were kind of rooting for him to get a little bit, take him down just a little peg. And I'll admit it, I was too.
Oh,
But here's the
100%.
thing.
I too.
But
Like
here's the thing.
100%. Yeah.
And it had absolutely nothing to do with him as a person, his family, his children, the color of his skin had nothing to do with any of that. And I'm being really, really honest about it. And what it stemmed from was there was just so much. The media was just inundated.
Yep.
You couldn't turn around without hearing something about Coach Prime or Colorado or things like that. And
Yep.
then now, after they started taking a couple of losses and kind of coming back to earth a little bit, and honestly, I can compare it to how I felt about Indiana this year, too. Once they kind of come back to earth a little bit and they come back into the room, okay, now how do you go forward from this? But when you pull the curtain back a little bit further and you see all of the positives that he has done for not only that program, but for the city in general of Boulder, okay, now you kind of need to take a study of that and tip your hat to him and say, you know what? He is a cocky, arrogant son of a bitch, but you know what? He backs it up. And he
And
does
that's,
bring good. So he's
yeah.
just so loud and in your face about it. And I think to a certain extent, that's where we're at with Shador too, is because he got it from his father. Now, is it cocky? Is it arrogance? Or is it, you just have really good self esteem and you know what you're capable of? So, I mean, you want to put this narrative on him. And I agree. The camera crew everywhere, it's a little much. But when you think about it, everyone, and I mean everyone, has a little computer device permanently attached to their hand. I mean, you want to talk about going to concerts and going to things like that. You don't have people who are just sitting there and enjoying the music anymore because everyone's sitting here going like this,
Yep.
recording it. Everything is in the digital age. So the fact that yes, he has a camera crew that follows him around everywhere, except when it's places where he doesn't need the he doesn't want the publicity. He doesn't want the he's not doing it for the praise and the people. He's doing it just to do it. That says something to me.
And the thing
So
about John
I
Marshall, the video of
go
John
ahead.
Marshall, he didn't ask for that.
Wasn't his crew.
It wasn't his
Wasn't his
call.
crew. No.
No. And it get back to it, Cleveland. We have been searching since Bernie. We love Bernie. Bernie was great for the city. He still is great for the city. He is one of the most, he's been through the ringer. He has been through
Yeah.
the mud. He has been through the shit of society in his
Yep.
life. And he is one of the most positive, best representative of Cleveland, of Northeast Ohio. He's a Northeast Ohio kid like we are. He's a Youngstown kid. And he has been through all of that. And you know what? We have a chance here. We all wanted it to be Baker. It wasn't. For whatever reason, it didn't work out. And now Baker's balling elsewhere. And I'm super happy for him because you know what? In his personal life, him and Emily Mayfield still go to soup kitchens and help people out.
They do.
Like these, regardless of what you think about Baker, off the field, once again, they don't take the cameras.
No.
And we have a chance with this kid if he ends up being the franchise. Not only the complete polar opposite of what we just went through as a fan base the last 3 years.
Yeah.
This is a giving kid. This is a kid that doesn't care about money because he's got all the money in the world. He made $24 million in NIL at Colorado.
Yep.
He doesn't need the money. He shows up in town and he goes and talks to at-risk youth. He shows up and he gives. And if he becomes the quarterback we have, we can be proud of him. Yeah, I don't care. I don't care if Deshaun Watson led us to the Super Bowl. There's some of us who, me included, wanted that man to fail in the worst way because he's a horrible human being, and did not want the team I love to succeed because they brought that guy in. I rooted against the Browns while that guy was quarterback. And that
hardcore. So same.
and it killed me. And I blame the Browns for putting their fan base in that freaking situation. But that leads me to what I have on my notes today. For the
Oh, we have
first
notes.
time, BB, for the
Oh,
first time in a long time, since 2018. And can we have a little story time? You want to come in here and have a little
oh,
story time with me?
oh, story time with these. Okay, I'm ready.
Story time with BC. So it
Oh, I love it.
was a Thursday night, 2018. Um, the Browns were in game three. They started out 0-2. Tyrod Taylor was their quarterback. And they are playing the New York Jets. They go down 14-0, and their starting quarterback, Tyrod Taylor, goes out. And I can remember sitting in bed. And the guy, as you know, I was very excited about to be the Browns' future quarterback. I,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, this was
You
this
and
was
I
a
actually
house.
fought about this.
We did. This was a household that was on the Baker Mayfield trade. We were big fans of him here. And he comes in and just starts dropping dimes all over the field. They move down the field, and by halftime, it's 14-11. They score a 2-point conversion. They kick a field, and it's 14-11, and they go on to win that game. And that game, that night, I was watching it in bed. Like, I had it on TV while I was in bed. And I could just sit there going, "Oh my God, we found our quarterback. We are going to be in for some good football in the next few years." And we were. There was a couple playoff, a playoff run in there, and uh, we started beating teams in the AFC North. There were a lot of positives. Now, once again, it doesn't work
You
out for
were.
whatever reason. We never know who's to blame for that behind the scenes. I first of all blame Baker's injury, but
Which one?
the shoulder that he probably shouldn't have played through. But
Yeah.
regardless, it didn't work out. And then the Browns front office sell their soul to get the piece of trash they
Literally.
got as a quarterback, who they're, by the way, they are paying for. I mean, they're now, I'm not just talking
Oh
monetarily;
yeah.
they are still paying for
Oh
their
yeah.
salary cap
Oh yeah.
because of the massive failure that the Deshaun Watson trade was. Um, you know, I almost that night, and I'm not, me, I'm not a reactive guy. I'm a guy who likes
Nope.
to sit back, take things in, and process. And sometimes it takes me a while to get my opinion out there because of that. I almost gave up my tickets. I immediately called our local women's shelter and donated $100 to them because it was my little protest, just my little protest in the
Hmm.
world to who that guy was and to what the Browns
Hmm.
did. And it became very difficult to be a Browns fan, let alone a season ticket holder.
Yep.
I preface all this and I start back in 2018 because I had not felt hope in this franchise since they had come back in 99, and before that, since Bernie was the quarterback. Because what a lot of people don't realize is, yeah, Bill Belichick was successful as a coach here. Took them to the playoffs. They were the Super Bowl favorites the year they got moved in 95. Like, they started out 4-0 and they were cruising. The move gets announced, the season crumbles, the rest is history. But people don't realize, like, this fan base hated Bill Belichick because he got rid of Bernie. And so there was bad will there too. I don't think
There
Bill
still
Belichick
is.
has, yeah, like, well, Billy, the hood has a little more to worry about, like his Stepford wife over there or whatever, the 24-year
Oh,
old
you
who's
mean the
controlling his,
toddler?
yeah,
The
he's
toddler?
controlling all his emotions on 60 Minutes there. Holy crap, that's a whole different pod. But anyway,
Whew.
for the first time, in a long time, BB, I have hope with this franchise. It's not Andrew Berry. It's not Kevin Stefanski. It's definitely not Jimmy Haslam. But it's these 7 young men that they brought in from the draft. They are, once again, all of high character. They are
Hmm.
hard workers. They are gym rats. They are dogs. They were also the most amongst the most productive college football players last year. And I'm like, this is a foundation. This is a foundation for the future. And you still augmenting it with a future Hall of Famer, Myles Garrett. And, if he could have stayed healthy, probably a Hall of Fame cornerback because he's a top 3 cornerback and Denzel Ward. And, there are pieces already there. And you augment it with these, like, this is a culture changing draft. And right now, I feel like I did that Thursday night when Baker took the reins and we were just on top of the world. And we had that briefly with Joe Flacco. That's how I feel about these kids, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see them play. Next year they're not winning the Super Bowl. We're not going to kid anybody. But my God, next year could be that foundational season. You got 2 first-round picks. If one of these guys pans out to be your future quarterback, you get 2 more blue chippers. You hit it in free agency, and all of a sudden you got that roster back up again. And like I said, I'm just hopeful for once. And every time I see one of these kids interviewed, it just goes up because they are smart, they're mature, they say the right things, they don't get in trouble. And I'm like, this is such a fresh breath of air from being a Cleveland Browns fan. Like it's just so nice. Anyway, I'm done.
I always go into, the draft and rookie camp and mini camps and going into the season cautiously optimistic. It's I want to think, okay, so maybe we can turn this around a little bit. And I'm not delusional enough to be like, oh, we're going to the Super Bowl. No, it's going to take a lot of hard work and stuff like that. I just want it to be entertaining and fun to watch. Again,
Yeah.
when we had that run with Flacco, they were a fun team to watch on the field. I mean, they were making magic happen, and it was just you couldn't help but get swept up in it. And then we had the literal dumpster fire that was last season, and it was really, really hard um, to become a Browns, to still be a
Mhm.
Browns fan. And the fact that our podcast was born in that season, it made it hard to find positives to talk about. So you're not just in here and ragging on the Browns for an hour or so,
We
because
started
we
this,
can do that all day long.
yeah, we started this podcast in November of last fall, winter, whatever. We started in
Right.
November and we were already on draft pick watch in November.
We were because at that point the season
We
was
knew.
a long shot just to even salvage
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
So I am cautiously optimistic. I do agree with you that the group of kids that we brought in here um, could be the cornerstones of the culture change, and that's ultimately what needs to happen. I've talked about it before. I've also I've been a Lions fan since I'm a kid because their history sort of mirrors the Browns a little bit with records and stats and things like that. Um, they had a complete and total culture change, and now they're becoming super competitive in the NFC North, and they were a game away from going to the Super Bowl, whereas before they're the first team to go 0-16. So to have that culture shift, and the Browns aren't that far from it either.
No.
It's not, you don't need to completely tear it all down to the studs and rebuild it. We are not having to do that anymore. And love them or hate them, the fact that they are still sticking with Stefanski, even this is going to be a put up or shut up year for him to prove, hey, look, this is what we're bringing you. You got to show us you can give us some kind of something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Um, Although you bring up Andrew Barry and you brought up 92-3 a couple of times. Um, Andrew Barry kind of became a villain this week in Cleveland sports history,
Yeah.
with
He did.
publicly announcing that you love him, I love him, the city absolutely loves him. That running back Nicholas Jamal Chubb will not be joining the Browns this season. So I don't agree with that. So here's the other thing. So you've got him announcing this, and it's going to be the same situation across the league that was when Miles had his temper tantrum before the Super Bowl. You have Andrew Berry that goes out on 92.3 The Fan this week and publicly says that he will not be rejoining the Cleveland Browns.
It's
You have
unlikely.
you have you have 31 teams who literally just picked up the phone and go, "What do you want? What can we give you?"
He,
You've
he's
got
he's
31 teams who are going to jump on that.
and he's gonna, and I don't care where he goes. I'm a Nick Chubb fan for life. Like I said, that guy is my favorite football player probably of all time. Um, and that's saying something. As a kid, growing up, who loved Ozzie Newsome. Ozzie Newsome was my just
Yeah.
when I met him at Hanford. I was at Hanford Dixon's Top Dog Camp in high school, and we had position drills. I was with the running backs, and out comes Ozzie, and I'm just like, and like, yeah, I was starstruck. And I'm not. I have met, as you know, there's a whole litany of stories of celebrities I have met in my life, and I'm not a guy get Star Trek. Stark. They're humans,
Right.
But 14-year-old me with Ozzie Newsome, like it was next level. And then following Ozzie was Bernie Kosar, who I got to catch passes from. Like what an event. Regardless, I loved Ozzie. I still do. I hate the fact that he brought so much success to the Ravens, but I also understand it.
Yeah.
Um, you know, but Nick Chubb is right there with Ozzie for me as my favorite
Yeah.
football player ever. And yeah, just it breaks my heart. And we know, we just know, and Cleveland fans know this. What the organization doesn't seem to. He's going to ball out this year. He's going to be
Oh,
really good again.
absolutely.
He's going to be
Because he's
really
going
good.
to have that chip on his shoulder now,
Yeah,
especially, he's coming back from his second major knee injury. He's got an insane work ethic anyway. So now this is your second major reconstruction on that knee. You're coming back, and now the team that you've given your heart and soul to
and publicly
is
said you
saying,
wanted to end your career here.
right, yeah, who he's come out and said he loves the city, he loves the fans, he wants to retire a Brown, and the fact that our front office literally just looks at him and goes, yeah, no, we're good. No, the door is that way. Clean out your locker and get your shit on the way out is is kind of disheartening, truthfully.
Yeah,
But again, you've got 31 teams who are picking up that phone, who are salivating, who are looking at him going, "Oh, let's do this, Nick. Let's go." We quote Major League, we quote Draft Day on this pod. He is literally, and he's not going to use the same choice words because he's just soft spoken and that's not who he is. But he's going to have the scene where Rick Vaughn goes into Luke Brown's office and goes, "I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to come back here and I'm going to ram it down your throat." I'm paraphrasing because I'm not going for 2 and 2 of using my choice words. However, I'm paraphrasing. Look it up. It's a great, great scene. And that's going to be Chubb. He's going to use this whole experience as fuel. That's going to be bulletin board material for him going forward. It's going to put the chip on his shoulder to push harder, to prove everybody wrong, because that's what he's done his entire career. And he's going to
yeah.
continue to do that. And it's just unfortunate that it's not going to be in orange and brown anymore.
And the worst thing is, and once again, we know my love affair with Nicholas Jamal Chubb. I understand why the Browns are doing what they're doing. I get the football move of it. I understand. But when you have a chance, okay, we talked about this draft class, and you have a chance to earn even more goodwill with the fandom. What is there to hurt than to bring him back? You got two
Right.
young you got two young running backs. You know, no offense to Jerome Ford, but Nick Chubb's going to be night and day better than Jerome Ford. So it just it's hard. I
Undoubtedly.
understand it. I understand it, but it just it's heartbreaking. So
I don't understand it though. That's the thing. Like I know you're saying you're like, I get it. From a football standpoint, I don't. This guy has been nothing but bust his ass for you. Um, and any other player, yeah, I can see why you'd be a little leery and you'd want to move on. But as he has proven multiple times before, he's not just any other player. there is something really, really special about this guy. Um,
I can't
and
tell you.
love him.
I was going to say last year, before the game, they bring a celebrity out, Browns fan or former Brown, who breaks a
Hmm.
guitar to kick off all the festivities,
The
and
honorary captain of the game.
the honorary captain. And when Nick Chubb came out last year to do that, it was the most deafening roar I'd ever heard. It was right up there when the Browns beat the Jets 2 years ago to go to the playoffs. That was the loudest I've ever heard that place before, and it was before the game, and it was for Nick
Yeah,
Chubb. And
absolutely.
it's just like, yeah, it sucks. It just sucks.
It does.
The
There's
fact
no
that,
way to sugarcoat it. There's no. I think this is a bad call,
yeah,
a real bad
yeah,
call.
yeah. Like I said, I don't agree with it. I understand. I understand the business piece to it, but I don't agree with it.
Not even close.
So last thing I want to just touch on before we end today. The city of Cleveland, in Cleveland Sea Magazine, which has been kind of the forefront of the dome or not dome saga. They've been breaking a lot of this. Um, Came out with a rendering of what a revamped Huntington Bank Field would look like, and it looks like Huntington Bank Field with the stuff they did to Rocket Arena. With the glass squares.
Yeah.
To me, doesn't look like anything special. It looks like they just put lipstick on
No.
a pig because it's a terrible stadium. And all of a sudden, the narrative became Brook Park's not happening. And that's why this is getting released. Okay, folks, as a guy who has spent a lifetime in the history government realm, knows one thing: rich white oligarchs get what they want. Please repeat it. Jimmy's getting his dome. Okay. This is quit going to these clickbaity, headlines on YouTube or on X or Twitter, whatever you call it anymore, or Blue Sky. Stop. Okay. Brook Park's happening. The Republicans in Columbus have already guaranteed him that $600 million bond. Mike DeWine, on his way out, he's going into retirement, is not going to deny one of his biggest campaign contributors in the last 10 years that
Hmm.
money. Okay, folks, it's Brook Park's happening. Okay. Huntington Bank Field is going to be a relic and a symbol of 30 years or 25 years of
Well,
losing.
no, it's
Um,
longer than that, but
it's been there since 99, so 26 years. It'll be 30. It'll be 30 by the time it's done.
well,
Um,
no, that was the. You got to understand that was the original
well, municipal, but we saw a
municipal
lot of
stadium.
winning. But we saw a lot of winning there.
We did.
They tore down municipal. They put up Huntington Bank Field right in the same place, so people
Yeah.
understand it's right where
Yeah.
municipal stadium was. And it has been just a cesspool of bad football, and it's time to move on. And if you are celebrating and once again, I like to read YouTube comments. I'm on Blue Sky. I'm no longer on Twitter. Um, if you like to celebrate this kind of stuff because you think that the dome's not happening, you're going to be really disappointed in June when this budget goes through and Jimmy gets his $600 million from the state in bonds, which he'll probably never pay back. And it's
No.
going to be gifted to him from the people that he poured millions of dollars in campaign contributions over the last 10 years into. And this is why they do it. And this is why this happens.
Hmm.
Okay. Brook Park's happening. Just stop with this fever dream that, there's going to be football on the lakefront past 2028. It's just not going to happen. You're going to see next fall the first shovel in the ground for this new dome. It's coming. It's coming. It's going to happen. Why? Because white billionaires in this country, white billionaire men, okay, because there are billionaire women like Taylor Swift who don't get everything they want, I'm sure. But white billionaire men in this country, there is a network. It's an old boys network. It is the oligarchy. It is I'm not even going to get into the deeper history of this. They get what they want.
Yeah, because
They get
we're
what they
we're we're skirting a territory to where that's a wholly different pod between you and
want.
I, and I will not make it 23 episodes in that setting without using sentence
Yeah.
enhancers. So, on that
Just
note,
think. I want to put one word for people to kind of get where we're going. Plantations. Okay, now let's move on.
oh, oh my, wow,
Yep. That is that
okay,
that is the oligarchy of the day. So just whole different pod to get into that one. But
Ooh, okay. Let's all take a
we we,
breath.
we do
'Cause
a we do a great job on this pod, not to get political. That's behind a pod. That's when we have a Patreon. Um, but we
that's
both
when I
have
get to use my real vocabulary.
strong feelings about the wealth gap in this country. And, how
Yeah,
people,
that part.
yeah, yep, how people perpetuate it, whether through actions or votes. So, anyway, on that,
On
on
that
that,
though,
next week, BB, we're going to know the fate of the Cleveland basketball team, whether we're going to the Eastern Conference Finals or we're saying what went wrong, other than us saying their name. Um, see what the Gardos do. I believe they're playing the Pirates again, so they should come out of that series pretty good.
that could be
And
good.
um, and I'm sure we'll have stuff from Rookie Minicamp. We're going to get sights and sounds. We're going to hear. I'm excited to hear Dylan Gabriel talk, and I already know what he's going to say. He's a well spoken guy. He knows how to play a game. But I kind of want to hear his comments about the drafting of Shador Sanders. And next week.
Woo.
And
I'll be tune in next week.
and and to all the moms out there, and I include you on this too, because of your bonus kids. Um, to all the moms, thank you for everything you've done for all of us. We love you here. We absolutely do.
Right. Happy Mother's Day to all of the moms, the bonus moms, the single moms, the fur
For
baby
mom,
moms.
yep, exactly.
Gotta
To them
keep them
all.
in there too. Do them all. We love you. We appreciate you. Do you have plans with your mom tomorrow?
Actually tonight.
Oh,
Take a mom out to dinner tonight. Let her pick the place, and looking forward to it. So
date night. I love it.
yeah, day night with Kenny Sue.
I I love it. Tomorrow I am actually meeting my mom halfway from uh, her home and where I am. So the dead center, like where it's about 2 hours and ish for both of us, is Milan, Michigan. So her and I are gonna meet in the middle. We're gonna have Mexican food, and it's gonna be delightful. And
Yay!
yay! So have some
Have a
shenanigans
marg
with
for
the
have a marg for me since I can't drink margs on this diet.
well, I don't drink either, so there's that. So
Oh, that's right. I forgot. No margs for you.
no marks for me. Years of bartending has kind of put me off of drinking for pretty much ever.
I get that.
But we'll have one in spirit. We'll have some queso for you and think about you. But to all the moms out there, keep doing what you're doing. The world could not literally exist without you. We love you. Enjoy your day tomorrow, however you may choose to spend it. So, with all of that being said, from the dog pound to the shoe and everything in between, I'm BB.
I'm BC.
This has been the I-71 Playbook Podcast.